Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your official Marching Podcast announcer, David Thompson, and here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right, good evening and welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is September 15th, 2013, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It's football season, and it's time for the bands. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you'd like to make a donation to the show, please feel free to do so in your heart, of course. I can't even get out the show. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right, so tonight we're going to go ahead and welcome the people who will be talking our conversation tonight. I'm sure that, like we always have, the president, owner, and founder of Block Band Music, Mr. Rashad Waters. Is that you, Rashad?
President accounted for, sir.
Okay, cool. I figured that was you. And I think we got Troy Milton on the line tonight. Troy, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Glad to have you guys with us on. And I think we got a couple of calls already. This might be Garrett. Let me make sure. Is this the Edge one? Is this you, Garrett?
What's up, Joe?
What's going on, man? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Doing great, man. Great to have you on. And we got another caller here. Let me make sure I see who that is. Callers from the 917 area code. Who is this?
My name is Brian Rose. I'm a former Aggie.
Oh, okay. Now, did you call in on the, I think maybe the anniversary show? I think
called in about Honda.
The Honda, that's what it was. Okay, now your name is Brian Rhodes?
Correct.
Okay, what's up, man? What's going on? Well, glad to have you on this evening. I didn't know that was you, but we'll go ahead and bring you on tonight, and I'll make sure I get your information. I wanted to call and tell you thanks last time I talked to you, but I just lost the information. But we thanks to our panelists, to the people that call in. You're welcome to call in yourself at 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. As I say, this is an all-male panel, but please, females, please feel free to call in, and we welcome your conversation at any time. I want to go ahead and get the sponsorships out the way, so we go ahead. We got a lot of bands, a lot of matchups, just a lot of things to talk about. I think everybody's on the internet now, for the most part. I guess about 95% of everybody. So we got a lot to talk about. So we want to go ahead and listen to our sponsors, and we hear from them. Tonight's show is brought to you by Liquid Effects Photography, Block Band Music, Big Deal Fundraising, and bandhead.org. Let's take the time to hear from them now.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. And coming this fall, hbcubands.com. Write that down, hbcubands.com. Attention high school directors and alumni. Does your band need to raise money to travel, buy instruments, or uniforms? Are you looking to raise money to help your band? Well, Big Deal Fundraising is rapidly becoming one of the largest distributors of fundraising products in the industry. Big Deal is based in New York City and ships anywhere in the United States, offering quality products, fast delivery, and innovative consultation that will help you meet your fundraising goals. Call today at 855-244-4430 or visit us at BigDealFundraisingUSA.com. Big Deal Fundraising, your fundraising partner for your band or music ensemble. Block Band is a minority-owned music business that you can think of as your assistant band director. We help grow your musicians with a great selection of traditional concert band music. Then we back up their performance with necessities like reeds, oil, drum heads, drumsticks, and mallets. Finally, we outfit your players in auxiliary and shoes, spats, and gloves that match our precise custom drills. Got band? If so, then Block Band's got you. Check blockbandmusic.com or call us at 919-698-2560. That's blockbandmusic.com, 919-698-2560. Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
All right, thanks to our sponsors to help us improve the show and help us build our scholarship fund, and will allow us to broadcast during these peak hours. Before we start the show tonight, I want to announce the winners from our Week 2 matchup there on themarchingpodcast.com. Just go to the website there, and you can always vote on our featured matchup each week. And our Week 2 featured matchup was Florida A&M versus Tennessee State University. And it was great to say it was a lot of people that voted. Really good to see that feedback. But with 53% of the vote, Florida A&M edged out Tennessee State for the People's Choice Marching Podcast Award. So we'll go ahead and enter that information there, and we'll go ahead and keep voting. Keep going to the website, themarchingpodcast.com, and voting on our weekly matchup. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get into Week 3. We had some really good matchups here in Week 3, so we want to go ahead and get the panel involved in the discussion. Most people were talking about Jackson State, Tennessee State. A lot of people were excited about South Carolina State and Alabama A&M. But also, I was surprised to see that Prarie View went to Baton Rouge, and that has not happened in at least 20 years, I believe. If anyone knows the correct year, let me know. But I thought it was at least 20 years, because it's hard to either say that people are going to Prarie View or Prarie View is coming out. So it was good to see them there in Baton Rouge and to have it there on film. So, Rashad, I want to go ahead and start with you, man. What was the matchup from this week that you were most interested in?
Well, the matchup that I was most interested in, I'm not prepared to talk about. I will be prepared to talk about it if we come back to this in just a few minutes, because I'm about halfway through Jackson State's show. But the show that I was most interested in, the battle I was most interested in, was Jackson State versus Tennessee State. This is a great matchup here, guys, because Jackson State, as you guys have heard me say many times this year, I believe that Jackson State is the band of the year. They sound incredible, and, of course, the only way you can be the band of the year if you are in the SWAC is to match up against Southern and take them down. There's only way you can't be band of the year unless you match up against Southern. But before they get there, they have to smash Tennessee State. And Tennessee State just destroyed them at the Honda Battle of the Bands this year with, what I thought was the second best show, at the whole thing. So I really wanted to see how they were going to match up. That battle has ended up being a whole lot better than I thought. And also, I think I've ticked off Southern University because I saw a clip of them just from the fifth. One song from the fifth quarter of Prarie View, and I was like, oh, my God. That's a whole new Southern's not playing around. So if we come back to it later, I'll be prepared to talk about this battle between Tennessee State and Jackson.
Yeah, definitely, man. No doubt, man. I guess we're all, because I haven't seen the official tape myself. I always just try to just go on, what I can get, what my hands on up to the point. But it's all good, man. Like you said, you've seen Jackson State and you've seen Tennessee State, so you have a good, synopsis of what, you would think. But checking out the actual battle, that's all good, too. We'll definitely let the people speak about that this week. Brian Rose, man, thanks for calling in. What battle most interests you this week in Week 3?
Definitely the Jackson, Tennessee State. I don't want to harp on it, but those are the top band programs. I mean, if I had to, I guess my commentary is if I had to think of the top 5 bands right now, MEAC, SWAC, all HBCUs, I would definitely say Jackson, number 1, BCC or BCU. Southern is definitely in the top 3, and then I would probably hurt feelings, but I would throw A&T in the top 5 based on what I'm seeing coming out of there. And did I only give 4?
No, it was 5. No, that was 5.
That was 5. Those are my top 5 right now, but Jackson Tennessee said I cannot wait to watch the clips tonight.
Yeah, I think I've seen like one song from that competition, but I watched the tape of Tennessee State, at Florida State, and like some of the other songs that they have. I actually have, I don't know, I think I talked about Tennessee State a little bit last week, and it hasn't changed this much from this week, and I'm really interested to see based on if any of the listeners out there have seen the entire battle, or if you were even at the game. I know some of the people I know were at the game. You guys can call in at 718-664-6025 and school us about what you thought. I talked to what's going on, Garrett. What's going on, The Edge, man? I tweeted you out this week because I finally heard that Love and War with Southern, and I was really excited to see Prarie View and you guys. So of course we checked out. Please go to theedge1.com to check out the video. You guys let us know. It's on our website. What did you think, man, about the game? Because I know you were there. But what did you think about the battle with SU or Prarie View A&M?
I really wouldn't call it a battle per se. It was a showcase, a one-sided showcase. I mean, I was just excited to see a band in Mumford. And I think PV, the last time PV came to Baton Rouge was '89, I want to say.
Okay.
It was a good thing. And then Southern, we haven't seen anybody this year yet. So PV was the first band we saw this year. So it was they needed somebody across them.
Mm-hmm.
So now everybody can see what Southern is working with. Kind of, sort of. But
yeah, man.
The film was cool for the first song, and then it was over after the first song.
What was the first song?
Beyond by that
right.
Beyond by that phone. After that, it was over. You couldn't just. PV was just there after that.
Yeah, I checked out the tape, and I definitely gave the edge to Southern. I was surprised, like looking at the schedule earlier, and we were setting up the show. I didn't even think that they were going to be there. So, I was surprised. I was ready more to talk about Central State and Kentucky State, but as soon as I saw that Prarie View showed up, it made me interested. And it was, like you said, it was good to see someone there in the stadium. But, I gave the edge to Southern myself. Troy, what matchups did you check out in Week 3?
I checked out, of course, the Jackson-Tennessee State matchup. I checked out Southern Prarie View and the Kentucky State Central State. Oh, and I checked out Alcorn and Valley, which that one really surprised me. Valley came a long way. I'm going to have to give them some credit. They've come a long way. They got a decent sound. I think they kind of edged out Alcorn. In terms of the Jackson-Tennessee State battle, I've seen a couple of clips, and Tennessee State seems to have taken a step back from last year, in my opinion. I expected a little bit more of them this year based on what they had done last year with the new director, but they just wasn't built for the Boom this year. I think the Boom wiped the floor with them.
So Tennessee State has a new band director this year?
No, last year.
Oh, okay.
Was last year's first year?
I don't know.
So.
Does anybody know? Okay.
I think that was first year, yeah.
Yeah. So, I was expecting, them to go into his sophomore year a little stronger. But they went back to that boring no wow factor. Last year they had a little pop. This year it seems like they went back to the old boring Tennessee State. The arrangements are remedial at best, in my opinion. So I haven't been impressed with him this year.
Hey man, are you talking about tonight's game?
Are you talking about Tennessee State? Tennessee State, yeah. Tennessee State, Jackson State, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Tonight.
What did you think about Tennessee State? Yeah, what did you think about Tennessee State, Rashad?
Oh man, I would have to give you the complete opposite on that, man. I'm sorry. As far as wow factor was concerned, I'm still watching Jackson State's show right now to really get an idea of which one was better. But Tennessee State's show was incredible to me, man. I love the formation on the field at the beginning. They were getting hype, dancing. The marching was good. The arrangement sounded good. Their as always, their execution of stuff is incredible. Listening to, I think it was Treasure that they did the drills, and the trombones just killing those articulations. They did I Want to Know for their slow song. Sounded great, particularly in the low brass. Tennessee State is lacking in their trumpet section right now. They're pretty thin versus the rest of the band, but the whole rest of the band is very, very full. You ever seen a dude walking around with like a really small head, like a really muscular dude with a small head? It's kind of like Tennessee State is right now. Tubas sound great, baritones, trombones, mellophones sounded pretty good, but the head is just really small. But their dancer team was banging, I thought. They hit a little bit of that MC Hammer in there. Maybe I get hype over old stuff, But and then at the end they formed Jackson. They formed JSU on the field, and then they formed Pac-Man on the other side of the field, and took the JSU and pushed it into the Pac-Man's mouth.
Oh wow!
And then formed Prarie. Yes, that show was banging. That show was definitely the best show. It's hard to say the best show, but definitely one of the best shows I've seen this year. It was incredible, man. And so I'm trying to see if Jackson can match up right now.
Okay, so Troy, when you were talking about as far as Tennessee State, were you talking about as far as them musically or more of them in the stands or whatnot?
I'm talking about more stand stuff because I didn't even see the whole show.
Yeah, because that's how I felt, and that's how I kind of feel about Tennessee State this year. I haven't seen all of their field show. Like I saw their field show, I think maybe in week 1, and it was just super basic. Probably just because it was earlier on in the year, but I thought that their formations were okay. They moved into a T and they danced into a T. Did they do that in this drill for this past weekend, Rashad?
No, they didn't. They just formed what they did in order to keep the music going was they split the band into 2 halves, and then they did the whole deal where half the band would be playing and half the band would be dancing. But how they did it differently than most bands is that either side of the band you were on, the tubas and percussion kept playing. And
okay.
So they always kept a lot of sound going while they were doing that. So that was cool.
Right, yeah, I definitely, I would like to check out the show to see who won that, but definitely, I agree with Troy as far as, it's just a battle in the stands. There hasn't been anything that's jumped out at me about Tennessee State this year, like last year. Last year, it just seemed like they were just had that stereophonic sound, much more surprising, much more of a jump out and grab you type of thing, and I haven't seen that this year. To me, it seems like they're kind of coasting on last year a little bit from what I've seen in the stands. As far as, Jackson State goes, Jackson State sounds really good this year. Word on the street down in Jackson is that Dow Taylor disguised some music. And I think he put, music in front of the band and forced the band to read the song. And the song turned out to be Get Ready. And what he was trying to do was trying to see who was actually reading the music and whatnot. So that's kind of the things that I think Dow Taylor, some of the attention to detail that he's doing that's making the band sound so good. And I think Jackson State sounds really good this year, and I could just assume, just based on the film that I've seen, I haven't seen the actual fifth quarter between the two, but I'm just thinking Jackson State is going to take them in the stands. I actually saw on Facebook a girl said that Tennessee State won on the field and Jackson State won on the stands. So if you're out there listening, 718-664-6025, you can call in and let us know what you saw there. Has anyone seen, and I wanted to talk to the 8 to 5 guys, I don't think they were able to make it on tonight. Has anyone seen Alabama A&M or South Carolina State this year? And I'll just open that out to anybody that's out there.
No. I think we've all seen A&M on video from a lot of the clips that are on the field, and people are really excited about their new sound. But I hadn't seen that particular matchup at all. And I hadn't seen South Carolina State at all.
Yeah, they said that Alabama A&M their band was not able to make the trip to Orangeburg, and that's unfortunate. But definitely, I thought it was going to be a good matchup because South Carolina State always has a good band. You know, it's just super traditional. And Alabama A&M, you never really know per se. I know last year when we talked about Alabama State and Alabama A&M, I know Troy actually called in and, he's told us about, that he liked Alabama A&M better because, they didn't have that smash, bland, loud sound. They were much more clean. And it seems like they really capitalized on that this year. I think we got another caller, and I think this might be Maurice, a caller from the 601 area code. Is that you, Maurice?
It's me, man. How y'all doing?
Doing all right. What's going on, Maurice?
What's going on, bro? I'm good, man. I'm real good. I had a prior engagement, but I'm here.
Well, that's cool, Maurice, man. Well, tell us, man, were you able to make the Jackson State-Tennessee State game?
Of course.
Okay, well, please tell us, man, because, none of us here actually saw. Well, I think Rashad is checking out the film now, but what did you think? Please give us your analysis, and you got some time, man, so, don't worry about, curving anything. But what did you think about the game yesterday?
I wasn't able to get there for, it was a lot of traffic this year. They had about 42,000 people there this year, so it was a lot of people there. By the time I came in right when the game was starting. Tennessee State, I'm going to start with them. Tennessee State had a very, I guess you can say, the bottom-heavy type sound. They've had some of the best sousaphone sections ever to talk about, man. And this year was no different. The trombone sounded pretty good. Their baritones were okay, too. The trumpets were not so good, but as far as them, you can tell that those band directors will try to do all they can to try to make sure that band sound as balanced as they could, but some songs they were more balanced on than others. They, in the stands during the game, TSU does this thing where when they're in the stands, they don't sound as loud or as precise as they would, after the game. The fifth quarter it's like they always pull out these stops to where they have this certain sound level that they're trying to get out in the fifth quarter that they don't get during the game. So they sounded okay during the game, but they sounded much better on the field than for the fifth. Okay. Their halftime show. Okay, let me go and put this out there so I can stop saying in the middle of it. TSU, let's talk about them. I just got to talk about them. Tennessee State used to be known for trumpets, like back in the 80s. I mean, some of the stuff that I did when I was at Jackson State, I actually learned from watching some old TSU tapes. We're talking about like 87, 86, 88, just going back and just watching that stuff when I was a little younger. Now, really, probably in the past 12, 13 years, they just been without trumpets, man. They just not there. But this is the thing. One thing about Tennessee State that I find is interesting is that they take other people's stuff. I'm just going to put it out there. They have this melody that they play every year when they're winning the game around third quarter. If anybody follows TSU, and I know a lot of people think I don't follow TSU as much because I'm such a Jacksonian, but TSU plays this little medley where they have this little, they have Say La La in there. They have another couple of songs they put together, which they start doing is, exactly when they start winning the game. It's kind of like, okay, we got some momentum now. That Say La La, we all know that if we've been following schools or black college bands, Say La La was kind of like a fam song. It's kind of one of their things. You know how every band has a song that they have? I believe no other band should ever play SOS again. Let fam have it. Matter of fact, they just came back in the swing of things, but please just let fam have SOS. Nobody else even write that song. You know, just like get ready. Come on. Nobody else needs to play that. Just let Jackson State have it. It's theirs. But Tennessee State is one of those bands, and I'm getting somewhere, and what I'm trying to get to is Tennessee State is one of those bands that will take other people's stuff and do it. And they wouldn't do a bad job of it, and people would accept it, and they get house. On the field, they did a show where they made the Pac-Man, and they made the JSU beside the Pac-Man. Of course, the Pac-Man moved around, and they ate the JSU. Which was a good concept, but we all know that concept came from where?
The Ohio State band joint when they did the video game halftime show.
That's where it came from. So you have a lot of things that Tennessee State does, but they can't take it. Now nobody wants to lay claim to this, but you know the show, because the popularity of the show being a song to be played, everybody who knows anything knows that Jackson State made it popular. And what I mean by made it popular is we never go back to '86 when the song doggone came out. We know everybody was playing the show. But the reason why the song got popular is because, literally, it's because Jackson State started playing it during the games when they used to really, really, really win games back in the 90s. So, you know, TSU kind of put a little flavor to it, and now, you know, nowadays nobody knows where it originally came from. What I'm saying is that the TSU did a lot of that, what they do as far as taking, you know, stuff that other people traditionally did, put it together, and they did a good job of it. So their field show, it pretty much has some pretty good precision. I like you can tell they're really, really working on their marching a whole lot more. Their the tune that they played for their the ballad that they played was a Joe song called I Want to Know. Yeah,
Rashad just said it.
Which went over well because the crowd was singing it. I think it was a good choice. When they first called it off, I was like, but when they started singing it, it actually sounded pretty good. They had some pretty good ballads. You can tell that even though their trumpets are weak and their metaphors are not as strong, you can tell that those band directors are really doing a good job of really, really getting that finesse sound from the band. Their dance routine was on fire. I'm just going to go and put it out there. TSU did a classic theme, or a classic themed type of show, but they did it in a way to where they connected with the announcer. The announcer was on hit, and what they did, the movements they were doing, and how they conceptualized their whole dance routine. It was great. I'm just gonna put it out there. It was great. So therefore, their show went over real, real, real well. With them doing a little old school dance, they did new school dances. They kind of got the crowd into it. I mean, they really came for Jackson State's neck. They even made fun of them. Drum majors out there on the field, marching like Jackson State drum majors. They really, really, really did a good job, not only making fun of Jackson State, but also doing a dance routine and connecting with the crowd along with the announcer and making it work to the point where they got much house on it.
So do you think that Tennessee State won the halftime show?
Most definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah,
it's hard for true Jacksonians to admit because Jackson State's halftime show. Like last week, I talked about how they had a lot of energy. This week, the energy was not as much as it was the week before. But you can tell that those kids are really out there trying to execute. Jackson State executed those drills perfectly. I'm talking, when I say perfection, I mean, you got to go back a good 22, 23 years to see a show that perfect. I really would. I got my own footage, of course, but I really would encourage you all to check those shows out and see what they look like. I'm telling you, Jackson State put on a great show. And sometimes, if you learn a new show, you got young guys out there. When I say young guys, I mean mostly 18 and 19-year-olds, like freshmen and sophomores. They're not going to be concentrating more on trying to get the show together and not so much as trying to, I guess you could say, get the dance routine together as well, because that dance routine didn't go over well. Of course, they had the fat guys out there again. They said they had the nights by nights again, which I did talk to one of the band directors this week about nights by nights and how they're playing it differently from what's on the paper. The national team basically didn't get in the house, but the Fat Boys did. So if I had to get a halftime show to anybody, I had to give it to TSU. Anybody that was there, you know, would have to give it to them too, but it was just obvious. It was an obvious TSU win for that.
All right, we got a lot of feedback, a lot of something going on in somebody's microphone. Someone, I don't know, adjust your levels so we can see whose ever microphone that is. Brian, I'll, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think we got it corrected. Brian, I see you still there, man. I appreciate it, man. I want to ask you, man, you know, you talked about the top programs, and I know, you know, you threw Jackson State out there. Have you seen Jackson State or Tennessee State separately this year?
No. I've actually not seen anybody. I live in New York now. I'll be going to the A&T South Carolina State game to go for a live game. But I've been watching all the clips, and I will say that I kind of agree with a lot of the comments that I'm hearing here. Jackson's sound this year just kind of puts them in their own category. I will say Southern is the biggest I don't know, they're the biggest contender for the band of the year, and I think it could go either way, in all honesty. Tennessee State, I love the commentary because these are things that I've thought about them for a while. They do a lot of other people's stuff, and they'll do it well sometimes and sometimes not so much. And they haven't really been impressive except for the last few years. And their book in the stands is like second to none. They are a good stands band. Their field shows have not been good except for in the last couple years. And they've been good. They still can't move me like A&T or BCC or even Jackson. They still can't get me out of my chair. Like, I looked at everybody's comments from the Honda, and I'm like, Tennessee State executed that Honda show. Great. But to me, the entertainment factor is just not there with them. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not hating, but I just don't think they're really entertaining. If anything, I think they're extremely boring. But that's just – I think South Carolina State, and it's hard for me to ever say this about them, but they can get me out of my chair sometimes quicker than a Tennessee State on the field. But that's kind of my take. I don't know. Leave it or take it.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree as far as Tennessee State. Like I say, it's nothing that's jumping out. We got a caller from the 678 area code. Caller, tell us where you're calling from, your name, and who you checked out in week 3 this week.
My name is William Jackson, and I went to Tennessee State Jackson game this weekend.
Okay, all right, great. What did you think about it, man?
I thought it was good. I'm just gonna break it down simple. I had to make a correction from one of your former callers. The Pac-Man thing actually was invented at Tennessee State. It actually did it years ago against FAMU, and then FAMU took it back to the BCC Classic, and they got booed for doing it because the fans remembered that we did it first. So I know that because I was on the show planning committee at Tennessee State, and I do remember we invented that way back when. So this was done a long time ago. So that's a little thing.
Was it in the 90s or was it in the 80s?
It was really early thousands.
Oh wow!
Like
okay, so it's pretty early. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Before then, Fat Man and Fat Girl thing has been taken and done by a whole lot of bands, man. I really wouldn't know who to lay claim to it with, but Jack State has stolen a whole lot of stuff. You know the doggone Rock the House doesn't even belong to us. That's Gremlins.
Oh, wow, okay.
I mean, it's hard to tell where the origination stuff comes from. But I'm just going to give my comments on the game. But Go ahead, man. I really thought Jackson State, I'm going to put it in the simplest word I can, was loud. And they had a fierce sound. Tennessee State had our usual strong sousaphone, strong balanced sound, and you can really recognize our arrangement. At times, I really didn't. This is not hating. I really know what Jackson was playing. I came in the stadium, and they were just overpowering. But I didn't understand what they were playing all the time. The baritones are good. Euphoniums are good. The French horns are good. Trumpets were good. But sometimes it just felt like they were fighting. And when I went to the classic last year, I was like, man, Jackson sounds good. Balanced sound. Taylor's doing something different. And then this year, it was like, man, they are just going for broke this year. And a lot of my peers thought the same. Like, they're loud, but last year they were just so much cleaner. And maybe it was me. But that's just my comment on the game. Halftime show, Tennessee State took it. I watched it, and I'll give props to the deuce. Jackson State overpowered this. Tennessee State had great balance, especially on Chris Brown's fine talent. Baseline was ridiculously good, and whenever those cuts come out, I mean, it was just like, man, I think they had a split two apart, and it was really, really good. Jackson State sounded really good. Their Holy Grail was like, oh, my God. Like, the ending, whenever you see it, it's really great. They end, like, on some dissonance, but it's really good, and I was really impressed. But I have to be honest that at times I was like, they are just so loud, I don't understand what they're playing. And that's not hating. It was just like, my God, the baritones in the stratosphere, but they don't need to be. It was just times like that, and I was impressed, but it was like, do they really need to be up there? Maybe it's a taste thing because I am a Tennessee State guy, so it's a taste thing. And Tennessee State sounded good on the arrangement. I thought we brought a little more aggression this year, and I thought the drumline battle, Jackson was calling us out all day, and the game flow kind of interrupted some of those battles. But I really enjoyed everything I saw at the game. I thought it was a good battle and a good contrast of sounds, and I like that we stuck to what we did and we didn't try to blow out of our numbers. In Jackson, they just took it and blew as hard as they could, and that's my honest opinion of the game.
That's what's up, man. So you said that Tennessee State won the halftime show. As far as the fifth quarter and the stands battle, who do you think won there?
As far as one, I think Jackson overpowered. It's your taste. Overpowering, yes. Tennessee State had some good tasteful arrangement. In the fifth quarter, I give it to Jackson just because Holy Grail was just that good.
Well, man, I really appreciate that. Now, what's your name again? I got to remember the name. What's your name again, man?
William Jackson.
William Jackson. Okay, well, man, I really appreciate your call because, I mean, that was really a good. I think you might be the first person that I don't know to call in about the specific matchup. But like I said, man, it was a really good analysis. I'm not gonna lie, man. I actually agree with you as far as like overpowering sometimes. Like I feel that Jackson State is really, really good as far as the sound, but there are times where there is some overblowing, or there's just like where we have to blow each other's face off. And, it's like you said, it's not really needed all the time. But that might be something that's, like, embedded in our culture. You know what I'm saying? For just all the stuff that goes on. It's crazy. But, man, it was a really good analysis.
What they do. Yeah, it was cool for what they do, and I have to respect them for what they do. I will never, to the day I die, respect Miss Notes. I did hear a couple of those from the trumpet section, but that's up to their band director and what they want. That's the only thing I hate, and that's the only thing I would comment on is I really don't like trumpets going and missing notes. If it's not good in practice, it's not going to be good at the game. And that's the only thing I have to say bad about Jackson is trumpets have to really hit those notes, man. If you're going to scream, just hit the note. There's no such thing as screaming. It's playing the note. Just play the note right. That's all I'm down to say.
That's what's up, man. Well, I really appreciate the call, man, and hopefully, you're a regular listener. We'll be on every Sunday, and shout out to you, man. We'll, just try to follow us on Twitter or email or Facebook or whatever. But, again, I really appreciate the call, man. 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. We're at the another mark where I can play the sponsorships, but I kind of want to reflect on what the guy was just saying about the overblowing part. Garrett, I think something was up with his phone, and he wasn't able to be on the line. But, Garrett, if you're out there listening, man, call back. I wanted to ask you a couple more things about Southern, because that Jackson State-Southern matchup is coming up. And I wanted to talk about that Southern game. I definitely thought that it was a one-sided battle, too. I thought that Southern, won in the stands. But, man, they look so good on the field. And I wanted to go over that, so I wanted to talk to you about that, Gary. If you're out there listening, call back. Troy, I want to get you back into the conversation, man. What did you think about what he had? I think he said William Jackson was his name. What did you think that he had to say about, especially he called out the funk, talk about, they was missing some notes. What do you think he had to say about his analysis of the game?
I think he had a pretty fair analysis of the game. But what I will say, and I haven't heard anybody really talk about this, is especially on that Holy Grail, and I watched that tape from two different perspectives over 10 times, and they play that song with they used tremendous dynamics yesterday at that game. I mean, they were taking it down, bringing it up, and so to just say that they're just sitting over there blowing their face off constantly, I think is a misrepresentation. You know, I mean, if it's too much sound for you to handle, then you know that's fine and dandy. But I don't think they're just sitting over there blowing their faces off. I can't say I didn't hear any, you know, slip notes or anything. But you find me a band that you don't hear it, you know.
Right.
But for the most part, they're exceptionally clean. The trumpets, you know, they're not hanging over anymore, which I'm so glad. All of the cutoffs are right on. I have really nothing bad to say about it.
Okay. Rashad, I know that you are definitely the musicality extraordinaire. What did you think about his analysis and like, I guess, the overblowing, or just from what you heard on that tape? Did you agree with what he was saying?
I don't really listen to, how should I say? I don't really use the comment overblowing that much because, as my band director put it once, to say, oh, a band is out of tune is not a very specific comment, because most bands honestly play out of tune. Most of us in show-style bands overblow, and that's going all the way to the bands in the MEAC as well, who try to keep an envelope sound. When they get excited, they do overblow as well. To me, it's kind of a difference in sound. There are some bands that I call unbridled passion bands, and their goal is to just, I'm going to put as much air in this horn as I possibly can. If you hear that person by themselves play, they're going to sound terrible, but when you put a bunch of people together, it's going to sound great. An envelope band is a band where every person individually should sound good, and you put them together, you should just have a lot of people sounding good. But the thing I will say about Jackson is that they are so much cleaner than your average unbridled passion band. I mean, they really do a great job of articulating it. But I have seen the tape now. Joe, if you want me to speak on that.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm sweating. I'm telling you. If I had to be like a judge of these two performances, I would probably just leave. Because the distinction between the two bands is too hard. Because both bands were great in their own way. As we've mentioned, Tennessee State is very weak in their trumpet section right now. That's not to say they're not existent in their trumpet section. They do their part at times, but at times they're thin. Whereas on the exact opposite, Jackson State is phenomenal in their trumpet section. I mean, they're just constantly screaming. And it's like when they're playing on the field and they're facing the sidelines a lot, it's really those screamers that keep you really recognizing what the song is. Because that scream just kind of carries everywhere. It's like, oh, that's the melody right there. Okay, I'm with you. So they're the opposite there. On the other side, Jackson State's drill, just like my man said, it was cookie cutter. I mean, it was like, this is how you drill. Just like the announcer said, Tennessee State, this is how you drill, drill one-on-one. But on the other side of that, this stuff that Tennessee State attempted was a lot more difficult. Jackson State did the symmetrical things, and we've seen the symmetrical stuff how many years? I mean, before I was born, probably. You know what I mean? Versus Tennessee State, they came out there and made the area code on the field, And then, they did some things. They did some symmetrical things. It wasn't perfect, but it was a good attempt. It was pretty good until I saw Jackson State show. I was like, oh, that's how you do it. But then making the Pac-Man on the field, it's like, wow, that's really creative. So for what they lacked in the precision that Jackson State had, they made up for the fact that they did some things that we hadn't really seen, or at least we hadn't really seen in a while. Jackson State's sound was just intense and just powerful, and it was just extreme amount of energy all the way through. Tennessee State's sound was not quite as powerful, but sounded very good, and it was extremely articulate all the way through. And their dancer team, it's like Jackson State had more energy in their dancer team, but Tennessee State had a better dancer team. So it's like, oh my God, you're like, which band was the best band? I've been trying to to figure this out for the longest. I watched Tennessee State show twice to determine that, and I still really don't know, because depending on what your parameters are, you could go either way with which band was the better band.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's up, man. That's what's up.
It was a great battle, and both of those bands, I said it last week, that this is like with Alabama A&M, about this is something where you can be, as a person that is enjoying show-style bands, it is something that you can be proud of. Both of those bands will make you say, if anybody doesn't know anything about show-style bands, or they're so caught up in the drum corps and stuff, say, well, watch this. Watch either one of these two bands and be blown away by this, and understand the fact that they're only going to do this show. This is Jackson State's second time doing the show, so they probably won't do it again. In Tennessee State, they might do it one more time or two more times, and then they're going to switch to something else. Eat that. They're awesome. You know what I mean? So you can't get with these guys.
So do you think? So who do you think won the halftime, and then who do you think won the stands battle?
I haven't seen anything in the stands. I can't call it, man.
You can't.
Can't call it.
Well, you're the first one that can't call it. I say you're the first one that can't call it, because it sounds like the majority of folks are saying that Tennessee State won. But I mean, like you said, like they both had some good positives. Yeah, I think everybody has given their 2 cents about Jackson State, Tennessee State. If anyone's out there and you're listening, you want to call in, please let us know. 718-664-6025. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. There were a couple of other matchups on the docket that we could bruise through and we could talk about. But I want to go ahead and play our sponsors one last time before we sign off for the night. I know, Troy, you said that you checked out the Alcorn Valley game. That interests me, because Valley surprised me from the MEAC SWAC challenge. Like I wasn't expecting Valley. I mean, it was Valley still, if you know what I mean, but it was better than what I thought Valley was going to be. And then I remember Maurice, I believe Maurice was saying that Alcorn was pretty good this year from the things that he had heard. So just seeing Alcorn Valley, I thought that was interesting. And then also Kentucky State, Central State, I saw a guy post that. I actually just interviewed someone for Chopping It Up, graduate of Kentucky State, and he was talking about that was like their big rivalry when he was there at Central State. So if any of you guys have checked out any of those battles, we can go over that. And we could also touch a little bit on South Carolina State, Alabama A&M. I want to get what you guys would think who won in the stands and on the field based on, if anyone has seen anything. So I want to go ahead and play these sponsors one last time before we sign out for the night and before we talk about these last couple battles. So let's hear from them, and then we'll get back to it.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556. Block Band is a minority-owned music business that you can think of as your assistant band director. We help grow your musicians with a great selection of traditional concert band music. Then we back up their performance with necessities like reeds, oil, drum heads, drumsticks, and mallets. Finally, we outfit your players in auxiliary and shoes, spats, and gloves that match our precise custom drills. Got band? If so, then Block Band's got you. Check blockbandmusic.com or call us at 919-698-2560. That's blockbandmusic.com, 919-698-2560. Attention high school directors and alumni. Does your band need to raise money to travel, buy instruments, or uniforms? Are you looking to raise money to help your band? Well, Big Deal Fundraising is rapidly becoming one of the largest distributors of fundraising products in the industry. Big Deal is based in New York City and ships anywhere in the United States, offering quality products, fast delivery, and innovative consultation that will help you meet your fundraising goals. Call today at 855-244-4430 or visit us at BigDealFundraisingUSA.com. Big Deal Fundraising, your fundraising partner for your band or music ensemble. What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. And coming this fall, HBCUbands.com. Write that down, HBCUbands.com.
Okay, we're back, and we really appreciate the sponsors that help support our network, support our scholarship fund, and allow us to broadcast at these peak hours. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the show, please contact the show through email or through Twitter, and we'll give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial, we'll post your website on our blog, and we'll help you send out your information through social media. So contact us so we can help build your business. All right, we'll get back to the rest of week 3 before we sign out. Troy, you said that you caught a couple of the other matchups there. I want to go ahead and get into your analysis because it seems like we all agree, or we all talked about Jackson State, Tennessee State. Looks like the consensus may be that Tennessee State won on the field for halftime and Jackson State won in the stands. South Carolina State, Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M didn't go, but just based on the things that we know that Alabama A&M is really clean, really nice sound this year. South Carolina State, I'm not sure. I saw them play, and I think that they're okay, but nothing really jumped out at me per se. But they're always a good band, and they're typical, have a really good sound, really complete, and they have decent energy to start the show. But after the slow piece, they really turned the energy on from the show that I saw. The dance routine was short. I think I saw them against, I think the first matchup of the year. I'm not really sure, but the halftime show that I saw, that their dance routine was pretty short. And that they played Love and War, and it was just all right. You know what I mean? There's but just nothing that really made me like say, hey, South Carolina State was, just like a beast this year. So it was really even. It's too bad that Alabama A&M didn't go, but it makes me really interested in the Magic City Classic this year because it looks like it's going to be a really good matchup this year. So I guess to say we don't really know who won between South Carolina State and Alabama A&M, but definitely I don't think it was a blowout in either or. You got two good programs there. Troy, what matchups?
May I make
other
a quick
matchups
comment?
you check in? Yeah. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, man.
Sorry about that. I just want to make a quick comment about South Carolina State from watching them for like 20 years. They're good this year. They're definitely not as good as they have been in years past. And I definitely watched a bunch of clips. And they are aight. They're not what they used to be in the terms of aggression and just execution. I don't think they're a good drilling band. Every time I look at their field shows, I'm always a little puzzled. But other than that, they are aight. They are aight this year. I think they're top 3. MEAC put FAM in 4th. And I'll put them in 3rd, and then I think DCC and A&T. And that's as of right now. Things could change. But they're all right. I would love to hear others.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like I said, I saw them, And like you said, like they're typical, they're a good band, but nothing that really jumped out at me. And then really, to be honest, when I heard them play the Love and War, just because I heard Southern play it so well this year, it kind of made me say, okay, South Carolina State, like, you got to come a little bit better than that, and the energy really wasn't there. And I think hearing over the PA, the guy over the halftime show, it sounded like maybe a student arranged that actual piece. So that may have something to do with it as well. But definitely Alabama A&M sounds better than what they did last year to me and what they've always done traditionally, especially when we actually played them there. So I definitely, like we really can't say, but definitely the South Carolina State, they're not grabbing us. Similar to Tennessee State, they're not, there's not really, grabbing other than the halftime show, of course. So Troy, I'll get to you, man. I'm sorry, who said that? Was that Bashad? Go ahead. What's up, man?
I say just additionally, we really missed out on the fact that if I'm not mistaken, Alabama A&M's new primary arranger is a graduate of South Carolina State. And so I think that really would have backed up, to see how Alabama A&M sounds, a child of that university. Now, now I was, what is it he says? Now, first I was the student, now I am the master. I mean,
Right. Right. Yeah, man, that's a really, really good point, because, Alabama A&M, like I said, like, they just traditionally haven't been what I've seen this year. So I'm excited for them, and it's too bad they didn't go, because they who knows, they probably could have given South Carolina State a L. We don't know that. 718-664-6025. Troy, I'm going to get to you, and we got Maurice back on the line, which that's good. Troy, what matchup from the ones you saw jumped out to you, and tell us about it?
I think we all agreed on the Southern Prarie View matchup that Southern pretty much stumped them into the ground. But
right.
It was 2 points I wanted to make on Southern this year. One, the Love and War. I think that might, for now, that's the song of the year. That's pretty much the best thing I've heard. Maybe Holy Grail can tie in there with it. But one thing about Southern that has always impressed me, and people don't really talk about it a lot, is their appearance. And when I say their appearance, I don't really mean, how they execute on the field. I mean, just when you look at Southern's band, they always just look good. They look clean, and that impresses me every time I see Southern. Uniforms, tight, everything, they look like one, and I love that about Southern. But to move on, the Mississippi Valley State Alcorn game is the game that surprised me, because both of those bands sound much better than I'm used to hearing them sound. Alcorn's been kind of trying to make a come up, but they're doing their Jackson State imitation,
Right.
So, Valley is too, especially I was listening to Valley's drum section on a lot of their songs, and they sound a lot like WT, some of their feels and everything. But I'm going to give an edge in this battle to Valley because of two sections, their trombones and their tubas. Alcorn's tuba section was kind of sloppy on a lot of songs, and I think Valley, when they played their Love TKO, they sounded good. Alcorn stunk it up on that I've Been Searching. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And they played Let It Whip. That was okay for Alcorn. Not that it wasn't great. So I'm going to give an edge to Valley, actually. I think they had a slightly cleaner sound than Alcorn did.
I totally agree, CB. I actually, there's a Chris Brown song that everybody's playing this year, and Alcorn just straight up kind of sounded bad. Like, and I was like, wow. And Alcorn was good. I mean, they were good last year, and even on some of the clips that I saw of them this year, it seems it's just like an immature type of sound, like a younger sound, like, not fully developed. And Alcorn has always been known to just slur things. A lot of things runs together in their sound. I think their middle brass are good, and they have that swack smash, you know what I'm saying? Like Alabama State, they got that power. But and of course they always keep some tubas. Alcorn always keeping some tubas, but definitely, Valley. I was surprised at them at the MEAC, and I was surprised at them at the Alcorn too. Maurice, I know that you talked about Valley a little bit. I don't know if it was last week or in week 1. And what do you think? Have you seen both Alcorn and Valley this year?
The only one that I've seen is like clips of Valley. Sorry about the wind noise. I'm driving, man.
Yeah, that's all good.
I've seen some clips of Valley. I've only seen like 1 or 2 clips of Alcorn. I'm basically waiting till I see them. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to get to see Valley in person until October 12th when they play Jackson State. But I'm sure you all saw when you heard the clips about Valley that they sound much, much better. And I agree with you. Alcorn has always had that kind of a slurry sound, like everything just runs together. But I think what Dr. Murray is trying to do is he's trying to make the sound all of what his era is supposed to speak of, and he's going to always do some lower brass out there, and he's going to always try to have that slab type of sound, like that 2010 Jackson State band that was his. He's trying to get them to that particular sound that he got with Jackson State when he was there.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I think they're making some advances. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to slaughter them or whatever, but definitely I agree with Troy. I thought that Valley had a little bit more of an edge in this one, and they were more accurate, believe it or not, about Valley than Alcorn was. They just seem like they're coming with a lot of confidence, and it kind of makes the Jackson State Valley matchup this year kind of interesting as well, because you may think that you can sleep on Valley, or it's like they were the little sisters of the poor, if you want to say, but it may not be this way for Jackson State this year. So we're getting to the end of the show, guys, and I want to let you guys give your parting shots out. Maurice, I'll let you go first, man, since you driving, and I know out here it's illegal to drive and talk, on the phone. So I'll go ahead and let you speak now, man, so we can, go ahead and make sure that you're safe and everything, man. So do you have any parting shots and anything that you're looking forward to in the coming weeks, or any wrap-up and conclusions from what you saw in week 3?
All the wrap-up from this week was that I really enjoyed the halftime battle between Tennessee State and Jackson. I mean, they were going at it. And like I said, I agree with Mr. Jackson, the guy that commented earlier. He was talking about Tennessee State. They just always have had a certain type of sound. They did something different this week. You could tell they knew they were going up against the boom. Let me put it like that. Man, they have probably the best arrangement of Chris Brown's Fine China that I've ever heard. And any band that tries to attempt Fine China cannot attempt it without a fire tuba section. And who better to attempt that song in Tennessee State? Man, when I tell you those tubas, I have a brother that plays tuba at Jackson State, man. And when I get back to Jackson, oh my God, he's finna get it. It don't make no sense. But I tell you, our Jackson State tubas got raped by TSU tubas, man. Literally raped. They all of them need to be somewhere in some type of a psychiatric ward trying to figure out how they're going to go on with life after they've been bombed and really, really screwed over like they just got, man. It was ridiculous. But I must tell you, overall, the fifth was taken by Jackson State. They had some very powerful stuff. Holy Grail is smashing folks left and right. They are not as clean. Mr. Jackson was not wrong. They were cleaner last year at this point. But Taylor and them are really concentrating on those field shows, man. They got precision, very, very precision pattern and motion drills going on now. I'm talking about the marching is better. They're doing it. So to say that they got better field stuff going on, what they did in the stands was just crucial. They really, really towed Tennessee State up. I'm really looking forward to seeing Jackson and Southern in front of each other in Baton Rouge. That is going to be – anybody that's going to miss that, go ahead and get your $40 ticket for that now, because I'm telling you, you're going to hate you miss that battle. I'm honestly, I'm going to have to take off work for that one. I'm looking forward to that one big time. This week I'm looking forward to the Jackson State Texas Southern game. It's going to be on Thursday of this week, and I believe they're going to have it on ESPNU or one of them. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I'm
I'm really looking forward to that. I know Texas Southern went through a little crisis last year, and they're looking to, get some rebound done. And who better to do that rebound than on Jackson State Memorial Stadium? So that's it.
Well, I sure appreciate it, Maurice, man. Like you say, man, I'll definitely be talking to you throughout the week, and definitely looking forward to hearing from you next week, man, when we talk about next week's battle. So I appreciate it, man, and have a good week, man.
I will. You too, man. Thank you.
All right, and I think Troy dropped the phone. Troy, if you out there, man, you can go ahead and call back so you can give your last parting shots. Brian, I really appreciate you calling again, man, and I've been trying to hit you up or trying to find out a way to contact you or whatever, but I couldn't remember the name after you were on for the Honda. But like I said, really appreciate the call and you being on tonight. Do you have any parting shots, anything that you want to conclude from this week or anything that you're looking forward to in the upcoming weeks?
Thanks again for giving me the opportunity. No, my only takeaways is that the Jackson-Tennessee State battle was probably one of the better battles that we'll have throughout the year, and other than Jackson Southern. Texas Southern versus Jackson is always very intense. So I look forward to seeing that one and a couple more battles throughout the year. But as of right now, band season is going good. I am happy that it sounds like Valley is trying to turn a corner. I think they have a good low brass sound, but very happy to hear that. The SWAC is definitely producing some pretty good bands this year. I think I look forward to the day when the MEAC will get back there with Norfolk and Hampton and Howard kind of stepping back up to make the MEAC interesting again. But with that said, that's it for me for tonight. I guess I'll just email you my contact information and phone number and everything.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that so I know that you're on the show. I think you did a couple shows with Christy, right, with the Fifth Quarter podcast, right?
Right, yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. So yeah, definitely hit me up, man. I'm trying to get Christy on here. Love for her, honored to even be in her presence, to even know what she's doing. And I'm always on the Fifth Quarter and definitely trying to chop it up with her or have her be a part of the show. So if you can, get her information. I know that she's hard to contact and get a hold of. But again, thank you, man, and I'll be here and I'll be contacting you this week, man.
Okay.
Really appreciate that. Troy, I think we got you back on the line, CB.
Yes, sir.
Anything that you conclude from this week, anything that you're looking forward to in the upcoming weeks?
The only thing I'm looking forward to was that Jackson Southern battle. I think it's going to be epic this year. Southern's coming with it. Jackson State's coming with it. That's it. That's the highlight of my season right there, and I can't wait.
Well, I really appreciate your time, CB, and definitely, your time and checking out the band films and all that for each week. So, like I said, man, we really appreciate your time as well. Rashad, I'll go ahead and end it out with you, man. Anything that you want to conclude from this past week and anything that you're looking forward to in the upcoming weeks?
I'm so happy about the surprises from this week because, like I said, Tennessee State did a great job at Honda this year, but really Jackson State has been setting the pace as far as what a band should sound like. And Tennessee State, over the course of the last 2 weeks, I have not been impressed with. They really let me down. But this week was phenomenal. I mean, those who have said, Tennessee State, they're kind of blah, man, I need you to watch this tape. Because, man, they were really impressive. Of course, Jackson State was, of course, impressive. So I'm kind of sad that, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee State doesn't have any more show-style games. If they do, they have like one, and if they have one, I apologize for whoever I forgot. But I know they don't have too many more after this, so that's unfortunate because I know they can only get better seeing more competition. And I know whoever they see next is going to get demolished. Because they had to step it up so hard with Jackson, and Jackson was right there with them. This battle with Jackson and Southern is, like my man said, will be epic. I mean, there's not really any other words to describe such a monumental battle. Because as I'm watching this battle with Southern and Prarie View, we in the MEAC, we kind of always know, oh, man, here comes Southern. They're going to be just blowing their brains out. Like my man said earlier about Jackson. Southern is going to still blow their brains out. But, my God, the stuff they're playing. I was sitting there listening to this Stevie Wonder, and I'm watching these trombone slides. I'm like, these cats are playing, man. And I'm listening to the Love and War in that middle section there, and whatever the heck that was that they started out playing with, at the beginning of the fifth quarter, the mellophones of all those runs. I'm like, mellophones don't play the melody in the slack.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, it's like they're amazing, man. So this battle between Southern and Jackson will be epic.
I definitely agree with you, man. And like I say, we really appreciate your time. Rashad also will be featured next week. He has the famous Prunalysis that we got posted out there on the fifth quarter. I guess what is it? And then number 5th. What is it? The fifth quarter forum. I think it's something like that.com. You guys can definitely go on there and check out Rashad's Prunalysis, but we'll have the podcast version. We'll go into a little bit more in-depth about it next week. Next week isn't really a slow week per se as far as the matchups per se, but we'll definitely have time to talk about the Prunalysis and the band. We won't put it out there. We want you guys to go to the fifth quarter and see what band he's talking about, and then we'll be talking about it more in the podcast form. So again, Rashad, always, man, really excited to know you, love your business, and really appreciate your time this week, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, buddy.
All right, well, that's it for the show tonight, and we really appreciate all our callers and all of our great panelists. I really think we have a good group of people here working with us, and the people who are calling in. I can only wish that I could give people a salary and we're making so much money here, but everyone else works, has families, but like contacting these people during the week and it's like, hey, we're going to do this here, or have you checked out this here, or check out this link. It's a lot that goes on, but I really want to commend all those guys that call in and are there for me to help produce this show and to help make this show. I heard a lot of good feedback about having all the guys on and a lot more of the in-depth analysis and more of the musicality descriptions that are going on with the 90 Degree Show other than just my opinion, So it's great. I'm excited. I'm learning things. This is a really good season, and I look forward to the upcoming year. Please listen on iTunes, our website, themarchingpodcast.com, or on blogtalkradio.com. Check us out every Sunday, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock East Coast time, the 90 Degree Show. Check us out Tuesdays on 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time for Chopping It Up. And we're having some new episodes, some new shows that are coming on. Check out our blog about those. Blog 4.themarchingpodcast.com, and you will hear about all the programming. We have That's What I'm Talking About show with our announcer David Thompson and Howard Bring the Pain. Howard Bring the Pain. I think it's Howard Payne, but it's like Howard Bring the Pain. I ain't got it down yet. But just really excited about the future of this network and where things are going. So that's all the time we have for the show. Check out the website at themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.